remember weeping when I saw that in the movie theater. So next up, we have writer, director, producer, songwriter Lin-Manuel Miranda. Oh my God. It's a hot. Oh my gosh, Lynn, this year alone, you've given us so much. Vivo, Tick Tick Boom, In the Heights, Encanto. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Santa Barbara. Hello.
Yes. Yes. With Encanto and Dos Oruguitas, most people do not know this was the first song you wrote in full in Spanish. What was that like? Talk about the process of this.
Yeah, In the Heights is super in Spanglish. There's lots of Spanish, but it's interweaved with English throughout. And this moment just felt so important. It felt like it's the foundational story of this family. There's a lot of heartache in that story. And I think what's interesting to me about it is a lot of what it's not. It is not a song in which a character sings to another character. There's sort of this omniscient narrator that is singing about two caterpillars who are in love and don't want to let each other go, but they have to let each other go because that's how they become the next version of themselves. And to me, that speaks to what everyone in this family is going through throughout the film, but it also speaks to what this couple is going through, what you're seeing on screen. And it's also, I think it's also sort of what I needed to hear at that moment. Again, I'm writing this during the same pandemic we all went through, and at the root of the song is, if you're enduring great pain, you have to understand that there's learning on the other side of it. There might be a miracle on the other side of this pain. And sometimes we hang on to what exists because it's safer than what might emerge on the other side. And so I thought a lot about my first relationship, like my high school sweetheart. And so there's just a lot there. And the fact that it's from the perspective of a narrator saying, like, it's okay to let go. It's okay to let go of what you think you know, because miracles are waiting on the other side of this.
It's such a beautiful song. Yes. Sebastian Yatra, who sings, what made him the perfect vocalist for that?
Well, I mean, you heard him. And yeah, he just has the most angelic voice. You know, we went to Colombia in 2018 to do research on this, and a lot of what we did, Jared and Charisse and Byron and I, was we made mixtapes of what we thought each of these characters would listen to. And we all did our own deep dives into Colombian music in our way. And Sebastian just sort of popped up on every mixtape. So he would be in the ballads, and he was on Luisa's mix, but he was also on Isabella's mix. And so when it came time to finding a vocalist to sing this moment, he just sort of rose to the top pretty quickly, and he does such a beautiful job.
Amazing. You wrote 8 songs for this. Did you, at any thought, want to sing and contribute a song to this, as like with your own vocals too, or was that
no? I was good. I think I probably got sick of my own vocals halfway through writing We Don't Talk About Bruno, when I had to sing all of the parts at the same time. But I really have to thank Jared and Charisse and Byron and my partner in crime, Jermaine Franco, who you saw here earlier. And our producer, Mike Elizondo, who also is responsible for these tracks sounding as great as I was really adamant about having an all Latin music team, and so I was so happy to collaborate with Jermaine and Mike. I mean, that Dos Oruguitas moment in the film, it's my song, but then it also gives way to Jermaine's work, and then it comes back to the song. So it really was like, there were so many times where we were passing the baton back and forth in terms of telling the magical story.
There are so many great songs in this, but I do want to talk about What Else Can I Do with Isabella Mirabel's song. Yes, we haven't talked about this, like in all the conversations we've had.
We talk about Bruno constantly.
We do. Talk about writing that song.
Well, it's funny. I mean, all I knew about Colombia before I got in on this project was the diversity of music, because I knew Shakira, and I knew Joe Arroyo, and I knew Carlos Vives, and that's three totally different genres, all coming from the same part of the world. And for a brief time in the 90s, the best rock music on earth was coming out of Colombia and Latin America with Juanes and Shakira and Paulina Rubio. It was like a moment. And it's very embedded in my adolescence. So, in a lot of ways, what else can I do is like my best attempt at writing a ¿Dónde están los ladrones B-side? And if you know, you know. And so, I just was like, I think Isabela, the way she would express herself is like kind of this, because it is a rebellion number for her. So I wrote her a rock tune. And I also had this moment of crisis when I was like, oh, she should be singing about these really wild plants, and I don't know anything about Colombian botany. And so I was like, I'm going to have to just go down like a very deep research wormhole. And this is where my wife, who is infinitely smarter than me, came to the rescue, and she said, well, remember our neighbors at our last apartment, he's a botanist for the New York botanical garden, and he's from Venezuela, and he's an expert on this part of the world. So I called my friend Fabian and said, well, before he even answered, he said, is this about the Colombian music? Because all my Colombian botanist friends are calling me. So the word was out. And I said, I need you to tell me everything you know about Colombian flora and fauna, and I need you to tell me about like the wildest things that don't grow in Colombia, but a teenage girl could grow because she's just feeling spicy. And so that's why you get sundew, which are kind of these Audrey 2 type plants. Everything I know is from musical theater. And so, an hour later, I had all these great new words. I had jacaranda, centavebuya, and pitahaya, and all the best thing you can give a lyricist is new words. So it was a joy to write, beginning to end.
I'm never going to listen to that song in the same way again now. Spicy teenagers. All right, let's talk about Bruno.
Sure.
That's what the audience wants to hear.
Yeah.
How long did it take to write, and how did you crack? This is one that all the kids, all the teens, everybody's reenacting, and everybody knows the lyrics to this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm embarrassed. Mirabelle's song, Waiting on a Miracle, took months and many discarded drafts and many discarded songs. Bruno was like a week. It was easy. I knew what Bruno needed to be. In a lot of ways, it was a musical defense of our proof of concept, which was, this is a musical about a multi-generational family. We have 12 major characters. How do we justify that and hang on to them through the winnowing that happens in a story process on any movie? And so I said, if I write an opening number that is like a family tree, here's Abuela, here's her kids, here's who they married, here's their kids, we can kind of explain and get everyone on the same page. And then the second part of that defensive proof of concept was, let me write this gossip number where everyone says, we're not allowed to talk about that, and proceeds to talk about it. I thought it was a chance to shine a spotlight on the characters that wouldn't get their own solo numbers. So it was really fun figuring out, Dolores whispers because her hearing is like super strong. Camilo doesn't really remember Bruno because he was a kid when he left, so he just makes shit up. It makes him 7 feet tall with rats along his back. And so it was really fun to write that, but I think the whole thing wrote in like a week. It was fast because it was so clear what it needed to be. And then I guess my other favorite part of that song is like, these are lame predictions. Like, goldfish die, you guys. Like, of course his emotional sister is gonna like make a hurricane happen at the wedding. And so I love that like on first listening of it, you're like, oh, he's predicting all these terrible things. And then the second time you hear it, you're like, oh no, these are the most predictable things in the world. And it's really how they're perceiving him that makes it spooky.
Thank you for talking about Bruno. Lynn, stay put. We're going to talk about Bruno. We're going to watch a clip from No Time to Die, and we'll see you back for the panel conversation.